was secret missions sent to explore Oumuamua.
Section 51.
Section 51.
Section 51.
Hi everyone, what's up? I am GH aka DOZgeek, back here with you and section 51. And big thanks to all of you for your kind comments and for your likes. Big thanks to all the new subscribers and welcome. If you are okay, let's start by liking and sharing this new video. On January the 16th, the head of Harvard University's astronomy department, Professor Loeb, gave an interview where he defended his controversial paper that the interstellar object detected by a Hawaii-based telescope on October the 19th of 2017 and named Oumuamua was a spacecraft of some kind. Actually, the idea that Oumuamua could be a spacecraft is totally amazing. But moreover, I've recently heard of a whistleblower's report of an alleged covert space mission to Oumuamua in order to acquire much scientific data after landing on it. So while astronomers might be forgiven for ignoring whistleblower reports of covert missions to artifacts in the solar system due to a lack of corroborating scientific data, political scientists interested in space affairs, which falls under the rubrics of astropolitics or exopolitics, do not have such a luxury. Whistleblowers provide a rare glimpse into the rarefied world of highly classified, compartmentalized projects, and therefore their claims need to be investigated, since corroborating evidence may be absent due to the classification process, rather than being non-existent. Before examining the alleged covert mission that landed on Oumuamua, it's worth reviewing what astronomers have said about it to date. Detected for the first time in October 2017, the asteroid Oumuamua was originally given the formal designation of 1I 2017 U1. Astronomers had long awaited the arrival of the first object from another solar system, so they initially gave it the informal name of Rama after the derelict spacecraft depicted in Arthur C. Clarke's 1973 novel Rendezvous with Rama that was spotted after passing close by the Earth. But given that the interstellar object was discovered from the Pan-STARRS telescope on Haleakala Observatory on the Hawaiian island of Maui, two Hawaii culture experts were consulted. They named it Oumuamua, Hawaiian for scout or messenger from distant past reaching out to us. The images taken by the Hubble and Pan-STARRS telescopes were quite faint, so not much could be learned about Oumuamua's geometry and composition. Nevertheless, the initial artist's depiction was of it being a long cigar-shaped object that was turning and rolling along its interstellar orbital path as so violently ejected from some distant stellar event that occurred in the remote past. What really attracted scientific attention was when Oumuamua accelerated as it approached the Sun, according to data provided by the Hubble telescope in June 2018. While acceleration is normal for comets that have long icy tails which ignite, thereby propelling the comet forward, Oumuamua was not comet. Somehow the Sun's solar energy appeared to be accelerating Oumuamua. This led to Professor Loeb and his colleague from the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics, Dr. Shmuel Bayali, speculating that Oumuamua may have contained a solar sail and was therefore being charged up and accelerating as it received the solar energy. They presented their conjecture in a paper titled "Could Solar Radiation Pressure Explain Oumuamua's Peculiar Acceleration?" Considering an artificial origin, one possibility is that Oumuamua is a light sail floating in interstellar space as a debris from an advanced technological equipment. The light sail technology might be abundantly used for transportation of cargo between planets or between stars. In the former case, dynamical ejection from a planetary system could result in space debris of equipment that is not operational anymore and is floating at the characteristic speed of stars relative to each other in the solar neighborhood. This would account for the various anomalies of Oumuamua, such as the unusual geometry inferred from its light curve, its low thermal emission, suggesting high reflectivity, and its deviation from a Keplerian orbit without any sign of a cometary tail or spin-up torques. Alternatively, a more exotic scenario exposed by Bailey and Loeb is that Oumuamua may be a fully operational probe sent intentionally to Earth's vicinity by an alien civilization. What would greatly surprise Loeb and other astronomers is that much more scientific data about Oumuamua has been gathered, but this had been classified at a very high level of national security. According to Corey Goode, who claims to have worked on multiple secret space programs, he watched a video recording of a covert landing mission to Oumuamua conducted by an alien of these programs that first observed it prior to its entry into our solar system. This is particularly significant given that Oumuamua's official discovery on October 19th of 2017 was after it had passed the Sun and was flying past Earth on the outbound portion of its interstellar journey. Goode's credibility as a genuine insider was recently given a dramatic boost with confirmation of two Defense Intelligence reference documents dealing with warp drives and traversable wormholes that he was the first to publicly release in late 2017. The documents showed the scientific feasibility of advanced propulsion technologies that Goode had claimed were used in secret space programs. The two documents were part of a list of 38 unclassified for official use only documents that the Defense Intelligence Agency confirmed as authentic on January the 16th of 2019 in response to a Freedom of Information Act request by the Federation of American Scientists. In January 2018, Goode provided a detailed description of what he saw in a video shown to him and others attending a briefing concerning recent covert space activities. Goode wrote about what he witnessed along with the explanation by a former USAF officer, Sigmund, participating in the briefing. The person leading the meeting then brought our attention to a large smart glass pad monitor that was lowering from the ceiling. Sigmund then stood up and said,
"I have a treat for the both of you."
He walked up to the monitor and stared at it while talking. He stated that they had been monitoring what appeared to be a derelict spacecraft that was headed towards our Sol system. This would prove to be the same cigar-shaped asteroid that NASA and the mainstream media dubbed Oumuamua and publicized widely in the same time frame. Goode next explained what he was told about secret space missions sent to observe and land on Oumuamua. Sigmund puffed up proudly and stated,
"I led an expedition to see who this craft belonged to. Wait until you hear what we found.
Suddenly we started seeing all sorts of readings and telemetry on the monitor. I could also hear what sounded like an old NASA radio transmission. There were beeps along, with the pilot calling in positions of his craft, as well as the one he was trying to dock with. That lasted for about 5 minutes as I saw the two craft spiraling closer and closer together. As the pilot matched the spin of the object they were approaching, you could see a long cigar-shaped structure that had shiny patches of what looked like ice on the outside. It was obviously made of stone and looked as if it had been through many meteor showers and collisions. The video broke to a scene where a few people who were suited up in space suits were pushing themselves through what looked like a boat-out hole going down into the rock. The shuttle had docked with the mystery vessel close to what looked like a metallic oval dome, which was sitting about a third of the way down its fuselage. It appeared to have been breached many times and was full of holes and dents from obvious impacts. In the next scene, you could see the men in a weightless environment with lights on their chests, helmets, and the tops of their wrists. They split up and were talking to each other through the communications systems in their suits. One of them was chipping samples out of the icy residue on the floors and walls. This same frozen organic sludge was on the outside of the ship as well. It appeared like foamy, dirty lake water that had been frozen. The ship was obviously very ancient. It had been boarded and stripped of technology many times by unknown races. Sigmund stated that when they tested the sludge later, they determined that it was partly the remains of the original crew. There were many panels removed from the walls, ceilings and floors, leaving empty compartments where technology was once located. Good went on to describe the discovery of preserved bodies of former crew members, the identity of an ancient extraterrestrial race they belonged to, the craft being trapped in orbit for millions of years, and the hieroglyphic language found inside the craft. All this might sound incredible to astronomers relying on the scant data provided by the two telescopes that observed Oumuamua from a great distance. Good's release of DIA documents showing the feasibility of advanced propulsion systems such as warp drives gives a degree of credibility to his claim that a covert space mission to Oumuamua was conducted and recorded on video. It is certain that the video Good witnessed has been shown to many scientists with need to know inside the covert world of secret space programs. The similarity of Good's account with what Clark described in Rendezvous with Rama is extraordinary. Perhaps Professor Loeb and Dr. Bailey may have been made aware of such extraordinary information and are presenting their Oumuamua spacecraft hypotheses to open the minds of incredulous colleagues. Eventually, one day, such classified data will be revealed to give a much more accurate and fuller picture of objects such as Oumuamua entering or inside our solar system, and the classified missions to these conducted by multiple secret space programs. If all of this is real, I would be really curious to know the men and women who were volunteers to risk their lives in this incredible mission. This is clearly a science fiction story for a movie. And to close this fascinating subject, please let me invite you to discover that great comic book called Letter 44, written by Charles Soule and drawn by Alberto Jimenez Albuquerque. The story: a US president on his very first day in office reads the secret letter from the previous president that only is allowed to see. That letter contains a huge revelation. That the US government discovered some sort of alien construction project in the asteroid belt 7 years earlier and covered it up. The letter goes on to describe all the secret policy decisions that were made with this knowledge in mind. The development of super weapons, for example, including a manned space mission sent out to make contact a few years earlier. Those astronauts are en route and due to arrive in the belt soon. All of that is now this new president's problem. This is a great story, and I highly recommend you this reading. I've loved very much reading that comic series. So, were the authors inspired by the story of Oumuamua? If not, I believe it's a very good example of synchronicity, when truth is stranger than fiction. Now, let's come back to Earth. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to like and share our videos. Have a look in our Spreadshirts shop to get your own Section 51 t-shirt. I'll be back really soon. Open your eyes, watch the sky, live long and prosper.